Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and do the makeup romance tag, and I'm going to do the eyeshadow palette edition. So this tag was started by Lauren Della Fera, I want to say. It's a little bit of an older tag, and it's been on my list to do for a while, but you know how I am. I'm a mess. Things never happen the way that I want them to. So I'm going to finally do that today, and I'm just going to be talking about eyeshadow palettes instead of my makeup collection in general, which is what she originally did. And then I want to say I saw Paulina Beauty and Katie Marie also do the eyeshadow palette edition. I felt like that was so much more true to me just because eyeshadow palettes is where my love for makeup really is, and that's like my favorite thing to buy and try and swatch and all the things. This is a really cute tag because Lauren talked about how she always ends up comparing her love of different makeup products to romance or different situations involving love or attraction or whatever it may be, and I do the same thing, so I definitely related. And I feel like when you're passionate about makeup, that just seems to happen, so I thought it was a really cute idea. I will have her channel linked down below, as well as Paulina's and Katie's that I mentioned if you want to check out their videos. I'm going to link their videos specifically just because, like I said, this is a little bit of an older one, so I'll search for it so you guys don't have to. Let's just go ahead and jump on in. Okay, so the first question is the one that you're in a committed relationship. So this is your long-term ride or die staple palette, and I actually have two to mention. So the first is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I absolutely love this palette so much. It was such a splurge. I did get it on sale and I waited a long time to purchase it, but I can say that I truly love this palette so much. It is my favorite for when I'm feeling neutral or I want to add a little blue, a little bit of green. Like, this is my go-to for any look like that, and I use it all the time. I really just absolutely love this palette. I can't rave enough about it. I feel like all the mattes blend so beautifully and the textures of the shimmers are just out of this world. I love it so much, and I really hope this palette stays available for purchase for a really long time, because I could see one day, like 6 years from now, repurchasing it because I don't want to live a life without this palette. It's just so good. It's phenomenal. There are dupes for it. I really love the Alter Ego dupe for this one. I have a full video comparing it, and it's really great dupe for the price difference. But if you do just love having like a little, just a little piece of luxury, I can't say that it's worth the price because for every single person that's going to be a different answer, but I can say that it's really good quality. Alright, so then the other palette that I have to mention is whenever I'm feeling the purple, pinky, blue tones, and that would be, of course, my Alma palette. I custom created this color story, and I absolutely love it. Of course, I have like my perfect transition, my perfect deepening shades, just really intense metallic shimmers, a bunch of inner corner colors. So I absolutely, obviously love my Alma palette. I feel like this one doesn't even look that crazy, like it doesn't look like I've used it that much, but that's honestly because I've kept this one here, like in my filming space for when I'm filming, and then my other one that I was testing the whole time I have that I've been using more often. And I've almost hit pan on Bloom, the transition shade in my original palette, along with a few other colors aren't that far off. So that's why this one looks a little bit less crazy, but obviously I love this and it's a long-term staple for me. Alright, so the next palette is the one that you're still in the honeymoon phase with. So obviously something that's a little bit newer, that you're still kind of completely googly eyes about. You haven't discovered all its flaws yet. Does it even have flaws? You don't think so because you're in the honeymoon phase. And that would be my Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I know that this isn't super new to me, but this is the palette that I thought of because I have played with it, but I haven't used every single shade. I think it's just because it's an overwhelming amount of shades. There are 28 colors here, so I don't have a full opinion on every single shade in this palette yet, but everything that I have used I thought was so beautiful. I feel like the mattes blend so nice. This has such a beautiful color scheme of like really rich warm tones, but then also the pops of blues and greens that I really love. It's not quite as mustery and dirty as like some of the Natasha Denona Gold kind of looks that I would get, but I do really like this. I feel like it has super beautiful duochrome here that's kind of similar to lime chrome, not quite as intense, but the same kind of toppery effect to it. And just all the shades in general are beautiful. There's an inner corner shade, which I love because I love a light metallic color. I feel like I really need to dig into this palette more and maybe have some arguments or something and see if it becomes a long-term staple. Obviously, I really like it. I'm not returning it or anything, but I don't feel like I'm beyond the honeymoon phase yet. I still just look at it and I'm like, wow, you are so pretty and there's so much I want to do with you. Take that as you will. Okay, so question number 3, or palette number 3, is the one that you friend zoned. So now we're going to get a little bit more sassy, and I'm going to say the ColourPop Honey palette. So I feel like this palette, it's cute, like it's adorable, and you see it and you're like, wow, like I like almost everything about you, but then there's just that one thing that you do, that one trait where I'm like, yeah, no, this would never work. We're never going to move past the friend zone. You're stuck there indefinitely because you have a pressed glitter. So that's the trait I'm thinking of in here, because I feel like everything else about this is like, it's so nice. And it's like, yeah, you're a good friend. Like I could see the good things about you. Are you my perfect companion? No, because you just have a giant flaw that's not right for me, but somebody else is going to see that pressed glitter and love it, even if I don't. So I don't know. I felt like that was this palette in general. I really love it. I feel like it has some really great things going for it. But just the fact that it has the pressed glitter, I never ever reach for this. And if I had to choose between this one and the Midas Cosmetics Lemonade palette, I believe is what it's called, that's the one I would go for every time. I do have a full video comparing them. So I don't know. I thought of friend zone and I thought, honey, like you are stuck in the friend zone. Okay, so next, for the one that got away, I have to say the Kaleidos Cosmetics Deep Sea Lustre palette. I'll go ahead and leave a picture on screen so you can see what it looks like. Obviously, it's the one that got away. I don't have it here with me to show you. I didn't even know about this brand when this palette came out, and then I saw Angelica Nikist kind of review it and talk about it, and she raved about it, but it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't need it, like it's fine, like it's a brand I don't really know, like, you know, it was just like not at the priority of my list of things to buy. And then I've tried multiple palettes from Kaleidos that they sent me as PR, and they are so good. The mattes are super pigmented, easy to blend. The shimmers are extremely metallic, and they're definitely more on the affordable side. Not like super, super cheap, but not super expensive either. And I feel like for the quality, the packaging, the color schemes they do, I really love the whole thing. So after really getting to know all those other palettes, I look back at the Deep Sea Lustre palette, which is no longer available, and I'm like, dang, I know that one has to be so good, and the metallics in there are so pretty, and if I had known what I know now, I would have purchased that one, but it is sadly too late. Okay, so the next one is the one you're currently crushing on. I can't remember exactly how Lauren explained this one because it's been a hot minute since I watched her video. I probably should have done a refresher, but I'm just going to assume that that is a palette or whatever makeup item if you do the tag that way. But if you're doing it like I am, the palette that you currently would really like to have in your life, you're thinking they have all the right things, they're wooing you. So that for me would definitely be the Natasha Nona Love palette. When I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I don't need it. Like I saw comparisons to the Jackie Aina palette. I was just like, whatever, it's fine. Like I love Natasha. But I thought that the palette, like the pictures that I saw online, I didn't really love. Like some I would think like that's so pretty. And then others I was like, nah, I don't know. That doesn't even look as pink as I would want it to. And then I started watching reviews on it. I watched Mel Thompson. I watched Michelle Wong. I watched Teresa Is Dead. I watched several reviews, and majority of people said that for one, it was way prettier in person. It wasn't even close to the Jackie Aina palette except for a few colors, and basically they talked me into it. So I'm definitely crushing on it right now. I feel like it's super pretty. I love that it's like the smaller size. It's still quite a little chunk of cash for the smaller size, but it's not anywhere as near as much as the bigger palettes. I don't know, you guys. I'm crushing on it, but I think that I'm going to make the first move, and I'm going to make it happen. So number 6 is the one that broke your heart. I bet you guys can probably guess this. It popped in my head at the moment I read the question. This is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette, and you might be wondering, what's wrong with it? It's beautiful. Yes, it is. It's high quality. Yes, it is. But it's also moldy. Kind of a deal breaker, am I right? Like, you're like, wow, I love everything about this relationship, and then 3 weeks in, it's like, maybe this isn't gonna work. So the story is, I've probably had this for like a year and a half now. I used it for a while. I didn't use it for a while. I pulled it out. It had mold on it. I was just like, what the heck? Because it was before the whole like beauty news mold thing. Like when everyone was talking about it went down, I was just on my own, like, what is going on? I didn't even know if it was mold at first. And so I emailed Melt Cosmetics. They gave me a gift card worth the value of the palette, which I appreciated. I used it for the Amor Eterno collection. I'm happy with it. Like, I'm no hard feelings towards the brand, except for the fact that, like, their eyeshadow's molded, which is slightly awful, especially because they didn't think it was mold, but I'm 100% sure that it is now because I scraped off the top layer of all the shades that had mold and the shades that were near it, and I put it in the trash, and I was going to keep the palette just for comparison's sake, and I went to pull it out today for this video, and I was like, no, there's mold again. If you're in a toxic relationship, no matter how much you scrape off the top layer and you're like, it's gonna be fine, the mold is still there, okay? Just a little bit of advice from my experience with palettes and life in general. I'm actually super disappointed by this, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and throw the palette away. It sucks, but I feel like I don't want to put that, even if I scrape off the top layer again, I don't want to put that on my skin. I don't want to have to compare this. Like, I'm not about it. Like, maybe I could see purchasing it again one day when it's on sale or something, but yeah, I don't know. I really, really hope they fix whatever's happening there because I'm not about the mold life. So this is definitely the one that broke my heart because, you know, I thought that we had something good, but you never know. Okay, so number 7 is the one you grew apart from, and I'm sad to admit it because I absolutely love this palette so much. I felt like it was my favorite palette of 2019, and this is the Menagerie Cosmetics Whale Song palette. It is so beautiful. I love the packaging. I love the brand. I love the formula for the most part. I love the color scheme. Like, it is just such a stunning, stunning palette. I feel like the reason I grew apart from it is the fact that I know whenever I use this, my lids are going to be stained, and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I don't know if I want to wear makeup. I don't know if I want to have to put a full face of makeup on just to cover up the fact that I have super blue eyes. So a lot of times it's like, do I reach into this palette for one blue shade? But then it's like I might end up stained, and it feels like a whole thing. Like, I have to organize whenever I'm going to wear this palette, unfortunately, and it is so, so good. It's just the staining is so intense. So I feel like that's just the one drawback and the reason why I grew apart from it, because I was using this constantly. Like, I've got good dips in several of the shades, and I love the color story so, so much. Every single shade in here is beautiful. There's not a single one I don't like. Even the metallic shade Pearl here that I was kind of like, I don't know if I like you at first. I really do like how it ended up working out, especially like if you do a look with Pearl all over the lid and Plankton in the crease. It's such a weird, interesting combo, but I love it so, so much. So yeah, I feel like this is the one I grew apart from, and it still has a piece of my heart, but I don't know. Now I only talk to it when I'm lonely, not consistently. All right, so next is the one you'd have a fling with, but never actually date, and this was super easy. I would say any palette from Ace Beauté. I went ahead and grabbed the Paradise Fallen just to show you guys one, but any of the ones that I own, honestly, I would answer this with, because I feel like aesthetically, they are so pleasing. Like, just if you look at the color story, it's like, wow, that's really beautiful. Like, I could see the attraction kind of thing. Like, there's definitely a level of attraction there, but I just don't love the formula of these palettes at all. I feel like every single time I see them, I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful. I love the color story. I love the way that they rearrange the shades. I really want to try it. I want to test it out. But then when it actually comes to using it, it's like, no, like, this is not going to work for me. Like, so I feel like it's just like that temporary little fun, you know, the moment you see it for launch, and then the moment you add it to your basket, you check out, you're waiting for it to come in the mail, it gets there, you're like, wow, you're so beautiful, you swatch it, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. But then you put it on your eyes and it's like, is this palette going to be a favorite for me? Is this palette going to be a long-term staple? Do I even really like this palette? Not really. Maybe I should give this palette to someone else. So I don't know if that perfectly encapsulates the idea of a fling, but I just see like there's like just this short-term period of happiness that this palette can provide, but then long-term it's not going to work out. Like, this is not a palette I would date. I should really pass it along. So next is the one you're in a love-hate relationship with. And this would be one that, again, I kind of grew apart from. And this would be my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. I actually wrote this down before the second one had even been revealed, which also I'm in a love-hate relationship with because it's so beautiful, but I'm not going to buy it. However, this one, I feel like the love would be the fact that I feel like this is probably the best neutral palette you can get for like this amount of shades and for the price and for the quality. Like the shimmers and the mattes are so good. I used to go hard for this palette. I loved it so much. It was in my favorites for months and months and months, and I still love the quality of the palette. The hate part is I feel like I don't really love the person behind it. No hate to her or anything, like I don't know her personally, so I can't speak on who she is. I try to believe the best in people, but I feel like even like pulling this out and using it, it's like if you even use the Jaclyn Hill palette and everyone wants to talk about Jaclyn Hill and it's a whole thing and it's not even about the makeup, and I just find myself never wanting to reach for this. So yeah, I don't know, it makes me feel anxious, I guess, to talk about it in videos. Even now I feel a little anxious. So I do like it. I convinced many of people to buy this, and I still would say if you don't care about who Jaclyn Hill is and you want a really good warm neutral palette, I think the quality is great. Right, so last but not least is the one you gave a second chance. And the only thing I could really think of was the Linda Howbury Spectral palette. So when I first got this, I was just kind of underwhelmed by the quality. Like, I don't know, I just thought that this was going to be such an amazing palette, and I do like the mattes, but I felt like I didn't really love the shimmers that were chosen. There were some satins, and I felt like this like little topper one I didn't really love. But after reviewing it, and I did pretty looks with it, like I liked it enough, like it wasn't an all bad palette. It had its pros and its cons, as many palettes in life do, but since then I have gone back to this over and over, and it's normally not even just for like a full look with the palette, but I'll go back into it and I'll use this shade as blush, or this shade as blush, or I'll go back into it specifically to deepen up with this eggplanty color, or use this purple in the crease. A lot of times if I review something and I'm kind of iffy about it, there's pros, there's cons, I'm kind of like, nah, like there's other things I love more that I'd rather reach for, so they just don't get a lot of use in my collection. But there's been something about this palette that has continuously drawn me in. I think maybe just the color story, even though it wasn't my favorite to begin with. So this was the closest thing I could think of for a second chance. Alright, so that is everything for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know if you have answers for any of these questions, or if you have any like categories you could add on. Let me think of something. The only thing I could think of would maybe be like if the one you're in an on-again, off-again relationship with, like someone you're continuously trying to make it work with, even though maybe it doesn't work. And again, I feel like that would be me buying Ace Boutique palettes. Even if I don't buy them, like I'll sit there and lust over them knowing that I don't need it and that it won't work for me. So, alright, I'm blabbering again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.